program. And when he first came in, he was acting like he was revolutionary, and he was saying, Mandla, and all the catchy phrases that you hear, people, trying to liberate. The whole thing with liberating South Africa and Nelson Mandela. But as soon as he got in there, he did a 360-degree on us, and everything was about placating the administrators and securing his position and trying his best to get rid of us.
Right.
So, and I learned that when you hear people that got their fists up and they're yelling Black Power and all that, sometimes you just have to look at them and try and figure out what the underlying message is.
Right.
Yeah, so even like with YouTube, I've gotten to the point where a lot of that stuff, I don't even watch it anymore. I turn it off because it's just a lot of fanfare. They don't really have the interest of us at heart.
Right.
So I'm pretty selective, about who I listen to. And I know I saw you had a whole thing on Pharaoh Saunders, and I love Pharaoh Saunders. And the message I guess you sent, there were 3 or 4 different recommendations for some of his albums and whatnot. So I find myself listening to Pharaoh Saunders and John Coltrane, and those are my 2 favorite. Miles Davis, of course, and Thelonious Monk. So I'll listen to them and forget about all that other stuff. All that bravado, talking loud, and ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, it's like the music nowadays. It's like everybody sounds the same. The rappers, the R&B artists, a lot of them, they all sound the same. And then you even got some white artists that even sound black. Until you actually see them, you think it's a black person that made this song, and then when you see like a video of them performing, you like, dang. And that's been going on a lot. I've been noticing that a lot.
Yeah, well, they get somebody black to write the music for them. Even like with what is his name, Elvis Presley. He had a man by the name of Otis Blackwell, who would not only write the songs for him, but he would send him a tape showing him exactly how the music should have been, or the song should be performed. So that's been going on for a really, really long time. Where they get us to write the music, and actually we've been displaced in a lot of ways with this new stuff, and I can't get into it. And I guess some of it has to do with my age, and I think of my mother and father when I was younger, and some of the music we would listen to, they didn't quite understand. I think it was more, have you heard of The Last Poets?
The Last Poets?
Yeah, this is a group, I guess you might call them the beginnings of rap music, and they would recite poetry to music, but most of what they were talking about had to do with our condition and how to change, and talking about our history and our culture and that sort of stuff. But they cursed a lot, in a lot of the rap or a lot of the poetry that they would read. And my mother would say, turn that crap off. How could you keep listening to that stuff? So I kind of understand some of what the youth are doing now because we did it, and people didn't understand, even the way we dressed and that sort of thing,
Right.
My parents didn't understand. So I can understand what they're going through. And so a lot of them just get to a point where they'll mellow out and they'll grow. Hopefully some of them will grow.
Yeah.
And, they'll move along, they'll mature. The type of music they create will become more significant, and they'll earn a place in the pantheon. They'll be like a John Coltrane, or Thelonious Monk. Maybe we'll see. But some of them, unfortunately, they're not going any further than they are right about now.
Right.
They'll be forgotten. because they didn't do what was necessary to earn that spot, or those spots by really producing something that had lasting power.
Right. Because I grew up in the 90s, and all the artists, like I listened to Bone Thugs, I listened to 3-6 Mafia, I listened to the Ghetto Boys, Master P, it was a whole slew, Biggie, Pop, Nas. I listened to a variety of different rappers from the East Coast and the West Coast, and nobody sound the same. And if you came out sounding like somebody else, they would let you know it. And now it's like I can't really, when I listen to this new R&B and new rap and stuff, when I hear it, it just sounds like even I don't know if I'm listening to a rap song or R&B song.
Right.
And it's really confusing. And even if I'm listening to a rap song, all the rappers sound the same. It's like, why have a whole bunch of people? You can just get one person and do it, and you'll save a whole bunch of money.
Right. That's right. I think the individuality is something that we look forward to. So if you heard Luther Vandross, that was Luther. You knew no one else sounded like him.
Right.
He had his own style. You can think of all the other people that had their own style. And that's what made it even more enjoyable, because you could turn on a new song by that individual, and it could be, completely different in terms of the melody or whatever, but you still knew who it was based on, their individual way of presenting that particular song.
Right.
But now you're absolutely right. Everybody sounds the same. Who are you?
Mm-hmm. And it's like that in a whole bunch of industries. It's like that in the movie industry too. All you see is like remakes of movies. Right. Like that Death Wish. I remember seeing that come on TV when I was 8 years old with Charles Bronson. And now they got Bruce Willis playing that character, and it's like Bruce Willis, that guy's got to be like 80 years old.
That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I think it's a way of keeping new expressions from being put into the pool, for want of another word. So they just keep on repeating the same things over and over and over again, as opposed to letting new people come in and bring new ideas. So every 20 years or so, you get the same stuff that you had before. And then how do we grow if that's what continues to happen? Like now they're talking about Coming to America coming back, and Martin coming back, and all these other things. And I didn't like them when they were around the first time. Coming to America was okay, but Martin, you keep Martin, and some of that other stuff, I just thought it was just foolish. Now, one thing I wish they would bring back, but that won't be Hollywood bringing it back, and that's the movie. Did you see the movie Hollywood Shuffle?
Hollywood Shuffle? No, I haven't seen it.
You should see it with Robert Townsend. It basically is a spoof. It looks at all of the negative images, stereotypical images of Black people that basically we play in the movie, and saying that somehow or another that stuff has to stop. And some of the stuff that people doing now would put Stephen Fetchner to shame.
Yeah.
And at the end, his grandmother tells him, "Why are you playing these negative images? You're not doing the race a favor. You're actually doing us a disfavor." And so if that's the kind of role that's going to be offered to you, it'd be better for you to go get a job at the post office. And
right.
I think some of the stuff that's on TV now, especially the Atlanta Housewives, the Atlanta this, Miami that, it just makes us look so stupid It makes the women look like, who would want to take her home?
Right.
To his mother. You know? It's just ridiculous. And the women, in my estimation, are worse than the men. And they don't even think that there's anything wrong with that. They're climbing on tables and showing everything God gave and didn't give to them. And it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And these images are going all around the world. And so then when you go to other countries, for instance, like I was in Morocco, and I guess I was in my 50s or so at that particular time. And this man just naturally assumed that I was like those women that he saw on TV, and he could just have his way with me if he chose. And I had to let him know, I don't care what you saw on TV, that ain't me.
Right.
And that's all around the world. They have these images of us. And I don't know if these women are thinking clearly, or they're so enamored of money and they'll do anything for it, but somehow or another, it has to change. It really has to change.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that. It's like that social media. It's like the whole social media culture just spilled over into everything.
Yeah. Sometimes I just have to turn it off. Yeah. I know when I was writing my book, I said, none of it, I'm not turning it on at all. Because, I couldn't see where it was very helpful. And I know I have family members, they knee deep into it. They got recipes going and everything going on. They gotta let somebody know about it. I even got sick of, I don't mind my family members telling me happy birthday, and close friends.
Yeah.
But when I have people who don't know me, you're wishing me a happy birthday, I'm not impressed because, you don't know me.
Yeah.
And so what I did, I went in and I changed my birthday so that they couldn't say happy birthday to me, huh?
Oh, that's crazy. But, if not, you'll get flooded with that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gets annoying after a while. It's like, I don't, when I get friend requests from people I don't know, I send them a message and I ask them, where do I know you from?
Right.
And if they can't tell me where they know me from, I just deny it and keep on going. It's crazy. I don't need all them people on there. I don't even really post much on my social media. Oh, excuse me, on my Facebook. Facebook make me sick. It does. It really does, because it's a playground for narcissists. I can tell you that much. They roll around in that stuff like pigs in mud. But it's just crazy. Like, cause I like reading the comments. I'm addicted to reading the comments. I'll just go through and just pick out a random post and just read the comments. And some of the stuff, is sad, because sometimes it just feels like it's like an attack. Like the system is just attacking humanity as a whole. Some of the comments I heard, like how lonely people are, and you see comments like nobody likes me, and it's like, and it's not coming from the millennial generation. This is coming from Gen Xers, and it's like, you look around and it's just like there's like no companionship anymore. People don't know how to communicate. People would rather text than talk on the phone. And I try to tell people, you cannot have like a meaningful conversation with a person through text. You can't. But people are, when things are going good, they text. When they're arguing, that's when it goes to a phone call. And it's like, I don't get it. I guess this the old schoolness, or just what it is. I mean, I'm pretty adapt to the environment, but I can still step out and look and see what's going on, and we're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
A lot of trouble. A lot of people don't see it coming at all.
Yeah, that's the sad part. They don't see it coming.
Yeah. And some know it's coming, but they just don't want to be bothered with it. I've seen that too. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You know, you got a group of people that, you know, as long as it's not directly affecting my bubble, I'm good. And you got the people, yeah, I know it's coming, but I'm just going to keep on doing this until it comes. And then it's like I just feel like I just need to just tell people what's going on, regardless if they agree with me or like what I'm saying or not. So that's pretty much how I see it. Folks, on the phone is Dr. O, the author of Unconquered. You're watching the other morning show. As you can see, True Power's Mind is not here today, but he will be back next week. And the voice you have been hearing is Dr. O, author of Unconquered. Let's talk about the book. What made you want to even write this book?
Yeah, my reason for writing this book is because I'm tired of seeing all the negative portrayals of our people in the movie and on television. And I think the thing that really got me upset was when they did a remake of Roots.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing what I know about Alex Haley actually plagiarizing that book, not being the author of it, that really just angered me to have it come back again for this particular generation to see. And it's funny, approximately 40 years ago, almost 40 years ago, I went to a program at City College in New York City, and present was Alex Haley, Dr. Ben, and Dr. John Henry Clark. And at that particular time, I knew about Alex Haley being sued for plagiarizing the story of Roots. And so I went up to him. I'm in the presence of Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark and Alex Haley. And so I say to Alex Haley, you know, I'm so upset. How could they do this to you? I'm with you 100%. How could they accuse you of plagiarism? I know you wouldn't do anything like that. I'm going on and on with this man. And Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark, they kind of turn and look at each other. And at the time, you know, I really didn't pick up that they were being very gracious to this man because they knew that he had plagiarized it, but they wouldn't say anything while I was there. You know, they were trying to be courteous, you know, but they knew then what I came to realize, the information that I had at that particular time about him plagiarizing that story was absolutely true. And so to see them bring that back again, I said, enough is enough. And it's always these stories of us looking like we were enslaved and we were helpless. All we did was sing spirituals and gather around the fire at night and wait for, you know, the good Lord and Jesus to come and take us to the heavenly bodies, and then we would be free, because basically there was nothing that we could do while we were here on earth. But then when I started doing my research, when I started working on my doctorate, I began to realize there was a lot of information that we were just not being given. I never learned about it in high school. I didn't learn about it when I was working on my bachelor's degree or my master's degree. And I guess in a way that was, for some of that, it might have been not expected, information not expected for me to learn. I wasn't expected to learn that because of the particular, my particular course of study. So then I began, once I started working on my doctorate in African American Studies, I began to realize there was so much information that I had not been privileged to. Students were not being taught that in school, and it was something that we need to know. When you think about the Yamasi people who have lived on this continent for hundreds of thousands of years, they played a major role in our history. If it were not for the Yamasee people, and that's the first people I talk about, the name of the book is The Unconquered, the Yamasee and Gullah Geechee Wars. Well, the Yamasee people played a pivotal role in the ending of the trade in Indian, or what we'll call Indian slavery. The Autochthonous people were the first people to be enslaved in this country or held captive in this country. And if it wasn't for the war that began in 1715, there would have been, I guess, more genocide than there actually was. So the Yamasee people made it possible for the enslavement of autochthonous people to be less severe than it actually was. And this occurred in 1715. And then there were 3 wars that the Gullah Geechee people, who were held captive in South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, all in that area, but primarily in South Carolina, fled. Their enslavers went into Florida and fought 3 wars against the United States of America and won each and every war. They won wars to the extent that the United States, or the United States Corporation, had to sign treaties with them. One of the treaties they signed with them was called the Articles of Capitulation, because they fought and they won against the so-called
the
most powerful army. You know, but we don't learn about that.
No.
Whenever we start talking about that era, and the first war was fought in 1817. Some people started with 1816, but we don't learn about that at all. And I think we need to know that we fought back. We didn't just sit back and take our condition. We said we're not going to take our this condition. We're going to get ourselves free. And so these people fled their enslavers, and they started numerous settlements throughout Florida. And I think students really should know that.
Yeah, I didn't learn anything about this. None of this stuff was even in the history books when I was in school, and I think it's a disservice to all the people of America because this is American history.
Right.
It's just not, this. Because me personally, I really don't like saying African American. I think the term descendant of slave fits me better. Because that's really what I am. I'm a descendant of a slave. But, that period is legitimate American history, and they do a disservice when this stuff is just pushed to the side and kept away.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it makes us feel like we can't do anything about, in my estimation anyway, it makes us feel that we can't do anything about our condition.
Right.
It's been this way, and it's going to always be this way. What's the use in fighting back? We'll never win. But then we find out there were people who did fight back, and they were victorious. And I start off the book in the year 1715. That's when the Yamasee War began. And I think what's very interesting about the start of the Yamasee War is that during that particular time, there was a major, what do you call it? Old age is getting to me. What do you call it?
It's all right.
What do you call it? Huh?
I said it's all right.
A solar eclipse. Sorry. There was a major solar eclipse, and it was a total solar eclipse. So it darkened all of Europe, parts of Southwest Asia, and Northwest Africa. And when we think of eclipses, I think some people think of an eclipse as something that just occurs, and you go out and you put on the special glasses, or you make the special unit so that you can look, at the eclipse, and then it's over. but the eclipse is said to have a major effect on Earth for years after the eclipse. And so you have these Yamasee people, and they're fighting. They start in 1715, not long after the solar eclipse. And for 3 years, they fought against the British.
Mm-hmm.
And they're victorious. And the only reason why they had the treaty with the British at the end, and some people consider it to be a loss, but it wasn't. It was because the people who were calling themselves Native American people, who were really not Native American people, joined in and fought against them. Mm-hmm. And that's the only reason why they're considered now as not having been victorious, but they were. They had a major effect on the ending, as I said, of the trade in enslaved Native American people.
Right.
You know, and I think people need to know that. And they need to know something about South Carolina during that particular time. So I go into the history of South Carolina because something else that's not known is that a lot of the Africans who were enslaved throughout the United States, mm-hmm. What became known as the United States of America, they came through South Carolina, and then they were sent to other colonies throughout the United States.
Right, because when you think of slavery and the history and the story they tell about slavery in America, you would never know that there were free settlements, you know, across in the South. You would never. People don't know. I didn't know that. You know, and what the history books tell, you know, in the schools, you ain't gonna see nothing like that at all.
And these were successful settlements.
Yeah.
You know, where they were so prosperous until you had European people going to these settlements or coming as close as they could to these settlements to do business with them. Mm-hmm. You know, they're raising horses, they're raising cattle, they have all sorts of vegetables for people to buy. They have naval stores, so they're cutting down trees and they're making them into slabs of wood that can be used to make houses. They're selling all sorts of other wares that are considered to be better than anything that's being produced in Florida or Georgia or Alabama, all the surrounding colonies, mm-hmm. or parts of the United States that were surrounding them. So people are running there, to take what these people have, and they weren't dumb people either.
Right.
So these are people who are speaking numerous European languages as well as numerous Native American languages, but of course they were autochthonous people. And we're not told that. So when we think about Native American people, what we now call Native American people, we're thinking of really light, almost white people with long braids and feathers in their hair. But these were dark-skinned people who were called copper-colored people who had never been anywhere else. They had been living on in this area for thousands, tens of thousands of years, and so unfortunately, when you see pictures of Native Americans now, they have this stereotypical image, but really when they show you these images, they're showing you European people or they're showing you Asian people, right. And they're trying to pass them off as being Native American, and they know that they're not.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, and I don't think they show this commercial any longer, but they have this one commercial where they talk about pollution here in the United States of America, where people are, totally disregarding the country in terms of they're throwing their garbage everywhere, they're polluting the stream, they're just not taking care of the country the way that they should. And they have this one so-called Native American in a canoe, mm-hmm. and he's, on a river, and he's moving to some area, wherever he's going, he has a tear in his eye. And this was what was used to try and get people to say, hey, maybe we should stop polluting, throwing out trash everywhere. Then we find out that the man who was playing that role was actually Italian. So a lot has been done to try and make us think that we are not those people. And granted, there are there are people among us, or melanated people among us, who came out of Africa. But that's not the total population. There were people here that look just like the Native American people, the so-called Native American people, dark-skinned, woolly-haired people.
Right.
That's what the Native American really looked like, and we're not told about that. So I really, it's a historical novel, but I really pack it full of information that people really, really need something to know about. They need to know about these presidents that we hold in such high regard. They're not the people. They're not people who we should be celebrating, such as Andrew Jackson,
right?
Who the autochthonous people called Sharp Knife, because he was horrible. He was sending people into Florida to kill the Gullah Geechee people, or to try and kill the Gullah Geechee people, to bring them back to what was called the United States so that they could be enslaved. But he didn't realize that they were going to fight back. And some of the people that he was trying to bring back and enslave, they had never been enslaved.
Right.
So we have settlements that existed in Florida for over 150 years, almost 250 years. These people were born and bred in those settlements, had never been enslaved. They lived to ripe old ages. They had grandchildren, great-grandchildren, even great-great-grandchildren who had never been enslaved as well. But nobody knows anything about them. And they were not unintelligent people. So they're speaking Spanish and French and Dutch and German and Gaelic. And they're also speaking numerous Native American languages. So they're communicating with anybody who can run and find, to come and find refuge in those settlements.
Mm-hmm.
But meanwhile, instead of telling the truth about the settlements that existed there, you have people to this day, historians, who try and pass off a place in Florida called Gracia Real de Santa Teresa de Mose as a place where the Gullah Geechee people fled to live free. And that's a total lie. And so they keep on perpetuating that myth. And I feel it's my duty to let people know that that's all it is a myth. That place, Mose, as they call it for short, never had more than 100 people living there at any given time. And this was all men. The women were not allowed to live with their husbands. So the women stayed in St. Augustine and Pensacola, and the men were stationed there. And Mose was just basically a buffer. It was an early warning system, or settlement. Not even a settlement, because it was just one little rickety building that was over there. But they had them there so that in case the British or the French or any other Germans or any other Europeans tried to go into St. Augustine or Pensacola, the first people that they were going to have to get past were those melanated soldiers.
Right.
And they were basically re-enslaved. They pretended that they were offering sanctuary to the people who could flee from South Carolina and make their way into Florida. But in actuality, once they got into Florida, if they went among the Spaniards, they were enslaved immediately.
Right. So they were just basically just being duped anyway. That's
right. And, the women were in St. Augustine, they were in Pensacola, and they were being brutalized by Spanish men. They were being raped, enslaved, of course, forced to work for the Spaniards. And still in all, when you talk about sanctuary policy, people try and make us believe that it was this wonderful provision that was offered to people who were enslaved by the British and ultimately the Americans. And, you know, it did so much for them, but it did absolutely nothing at all for them. And so my book deals with that.
Oh, okay.
You know, they were forced, for example, to convert to Catholicism. They were forced to change their names. So a lot of them, they had European names like
Smith and
Baldwin.
Yeah, like pretty much the basic names we got now, the Smiths and the Johnsons and all that stuff.
Right. So now you go into Florida and they speak Spanish. So now you're expected or forced to take a Spanish name. So then you become Jose and Juan and Manuel and whatever the female names were for the women, Consuela, and so forth. So they were forced to get rid of one European identity and take on another European identity.
Yeah.
And they were still enslaved.
Yeah.
You know, and they were kept out of anything related to Spanish society. So these are people who are leaving out of South Carolina, and these are skilled men and women.
Right.
When they get into Spanish Florida, they're bringing their skills with them. They know how with them, and they're using that. But they're kept out of all the unions. They're kept from making the same money that the Spaniards are making that are living in Florida. You know, they're not allowed to live in the same housing that the Spaniards are living in. They were just ostracized, period. You know, and unfortunately, knowing what I uncovered, these other historians, they know that information. These Eurocentric historians, they know that information, but they are not telling anybody what they know.
No, they ain't. That goes against the whole plan. They don't.
Right.
It's certain things they'll let you know, and it's certain things you won't know unless you're gonna have to do some real digging.
Right.
You can find it then, but you know you're gonna get the BS they give you, and it's you see it when you even just try to talk to people nowadays. You can just tell that they don't know.
Right.
They don't know pretty much anything but what that iPhone does for them.
Right. You know, even if you think about it, there are very few people that know that melanated men burned down the White House. They went with the British into Washington, D.C., and they basically destroyed the whole city of Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
You know, but we don't talk about that. And we don't talk about how their destruction of Washington, D.C., as well as Fort McHenry in Maryland, is what, or was the impetus for Francis Scott Key writing the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah,
you know?
And then when the heinous acts are committed, and then they wonder why people of color, you know, don't want to sing that song. They don't want to, you know, that flag has not done anything basically for them to an extent. You know what this flag's supposed to represent. You know, we're 13% of the population, And it seems like everything, all the legislation and stuff that's created and the judicial system that was created was all intended for us. Because one group of white people decided that they think that owning a human being is wrong. And it really, to me, it feels like this is what it all stems from, to an extent.
Right.
You know, we didn't really have a say in being free. It was a group of non-melanated people that just thought it was inhumane to an extent. And the results of them having those ideas, you know, led to one action led to another, and here we are, you know, and the same with like Reconstruction. You know, the Union pulled their troops right out of there and things went back to business as usual. Really quick for a lot of people.
Right.
And it was some of the stuff, the heinous acts that was committed during that time after the Union troops left certain areas in the South was worse than what it was when melanated people was held in captivity.
Right.
Some of the things they done.
Right.
So we were.
But then you have.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, but then you have these melanated people who are saying, we don't care what you're doing. You know, we're starting our own settlements. We're living autonomously.
Right.
Whatever you want to do, fine and dandy. You want to deal with that United States corporation, go ahead. But we are opting out. And they refer to the people who continued to want to live amongst the Europeans. They called them government issue.
Yeah. And see, I think a lot of that comes from, you know, the bad witches and the snitches and the coons and stuff. They were all able to walk off the plantation when everybody else was able to walk off the plantation to where they should have stayed. And I think that would have been a big difference. I think that plays a role in the way things are today. Is because of that. You know.
But I tell you what, there couldn't have been too many snitches among these people if there were any at all. You know, and from what I've learned, there would be no way for their settlements to have thrived.
Right.
For
that's what I'm saying. It would have been
years with snitches around.
Right. No, what I'm saying is it would have been more settlements like that. Even after, you know, even after the whole Civil War thing. And I know this period happened before that, but I think what I'm saying is I think they could have reached more people. I think more people. I think it was some underlying factors to where, because if you see, me personally, if I see a group of people over here thriving, you know, I'm trying to get to where they are. You know, and if I gotta, you know, I'd rather die trying or get there and die defending it than to be somebody's property.
Right.
So I just that was just something that came up in my, you know, I was thinking about like why wasn't more people like, man, they got it over there. We should band together and get out of here and go help them, and you know, and expand it.
Well, you know, you have melanated people as far away as Maine who were making their way to live with these people in Florida because they knew once they got there they could live free. Right. And these are people that are not just interacting with one another. They had their settlements dotted Florida. They were everywhere. You had Mulatto Girls Town, Bucker Woman's Town. You had Pender Town. You had Watertown. You could go on and on and on with all these names. They're not going to let you know about that. But these settlements were everywhere. And we know these settlements are everywhere because the United States would not spend millions of dollars to go to Florida to make war against a couple hundred people. Right. But when you hear about these settlements and about these people that they refer to as Seminoles, they'll tell you, oh, it's just a couple hundred Negroes. You know, but how could there be 100 of them, and you're spending millions of dollars to try and capture or recapture them?
Right.
So they are not. They still aren't being honest about exactly what was going on. And you also have these people doing business with people in the Bahamas, in Cuba, in Jamaica. You know, so they're going to each other's aid. So I have a fight, you know, with these Americans. They go to Cuba and let people know what's going on. Okay, what do you need? You need manpower? You need guns? We'll help you. So they're helping one another. I think the thing that broke them down is something that we still don't want to deal with, and that's these fake Indians. And a lot of people are going to get angry because they don't want to hear that. But you have the Cherokee, the Chickasaw, the Upper Creek. These were people who were against the Yamasee people, and they were also against the Gullah Geechee people. The system of slavery among the Cherokee was worse than it was among the Europeans. You know, and they've written books about that, but of course, they're not sharing those books with us.
No.
You know, but we'll go to their aid. You know, whenever they talk about they have a problem with the government, we'll run up and try and go to their aid, not knowing these are the posterity of the people who brought our people down.
Right.
And even today, a lot of the settlements that have not settlements. I don't mean settlements in the way I do. Financial settlements that have been given to these people that really should have been given to us. They are excluding the melanated people, the dark-skinned people who are saying, no, I'm the original Choctaw. I'm the original Blackfoot. They kicked them out of the tribe. They said, you're not a member of this tribe. When it's actually the other way around. All these fake Indians, they're just that. They're actually Irish. They're Asian. They're Scottish. And they're calling themselves Native Americans. So they're getting the benefits that we should have, the copper-colored people should have.
Yeah.
I think, what's his name, Claude Anderson, he does an excellent job of talking about how we've been cheated out of our inheritance by these people, these fake Indians.
We have.
Who are now taking everything that belongs to us.
Yeah.
And looking at us askance.
Yeah, it seemed like every minority group always take advantage of stuff that should be ours, and we just seem like we just stay right. We're right in the same spot, and it's a little sickening.
Right.
You know, you see other, just rights that were, won on the backs of, black folks, but we're still in the same condition where, other ethnicity groups, they're thriving, and like right to this day, descendant of slaves in this country is the only ethnicity group that don't have their own economic foundation.
Right.
The Mexicans have it, the Asians have it. We all know the Europeans and the white people in this country have it. They let the Arabs and the Indians and stuff come over here, and they go post right up in descendant of slave neighborhoods.
Right.
But and if I try to go get a small business loan, to start my own business, they're gonna call the cops, or security's gonna escort me out of there. But they'll give me the house loan and the car loan, but they're not gonna give me anything that's gonna make me financially, economically better. They're not gonna finance that.
Right.
So,
and that's been going on forever. We've helped everybody that has come to this country, and as soon as they get up on their feet, they leave us, and then they go on and do the same thing to us that the group before them did. I remember years ago hearing a joke by Richard Pryor, where he was talking about people from Asia at that particular time that were coming into this country. And he said the only prerequisite, and I don't know if you can use that word, so I won't use that word, the only prerequisite for coming to this country is if you could say the N-word. Right. And so they had to practice, this is part of the joke, they had to practice saying that word. once they could say the word, then they were welcome into the country. And if you look at, what they're doing to us, and continue to do to us. I remember living in New York at the time, and there was a Chinese restaurant where, they make their chicken wings and fried rice, all the stuff that we eat. And while they were cooking, somebody noticed that a chicken wing had fell on the floor. The person who dropped it on the floor picked it up and stuck it right back in the frying place where they're doing the frying.
Jeez.
And so they had to, let people know, don't go in there and buy that food because, this is what they're doing. Now, a lot of people decided that they wouldn't go in there and continue to purchase that food. But there were some people who said, I don't care. The grease takes away the germs. Doesn't do anything to me.
Just a simple fact, if they do that, it ain't no telling what other nasty stuff. That's probably the mildest thing they have done.
Right.
So,
right.
They
happen to get caught on that one.
Yeah, but they have probably done some way more fouler stuff than that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we allow, but I guess it has a lot to do with our feeling of, or lack of feeling of self-worth.
Yeah.
Because we have not been told who we are. We've been sold a bill of goods and we're going with it. Schools are not teaching children what they should be learning.
No.
And unfortunately, you have kids that question, and usually the ones that question are the ones that get in trouble. So if you question, they try and get rid of you, and the ones that seem to go along to get along, they sit there and they're indoctrinated. And so they keep on hearing that we were nothing and we're never going to be anything, and they begin to believe it. Even like Malcolm X, when he said, I don't know if you can say the word, so I won't. He said that he was called the N-word.
Oh, you can say that. You can say that word.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah.
He said I was called nigga so much, I thought that was my name.
Right.
And that's a lot of us. We've been, well, you can even see, we're calling each other nigga. We think that's cute, But we've internalized other people's opinions about us. And so they say don't, and so we don't.
Right.
And then they put the in, which gets me back again to, the reason why I wrote my screenplay and then ultimately my book is because I'm tired of those images that make us believe that we are something that we are not. It needs to change. We need to see positive roles of ourselves. We need to see men who are stand-up men who don't, just take anything. And here you have, the men that I talk about. These men actually existed. There is some creative license on my part, but these are men that were actually fought against the United States government. They fought against the British. They fought against the French. They fought against all European people. And they dared to be great. They didn't care what anybody else said. But if you look at the images nowadays, the men are mealy-mouthed. And the women are basically in charge. And I'm a woman, but I don't like some of the images that I see men portraying.
Black males, they feminitizing black males, especially males in general, but black males, they making them feminine. It's an all out assault on it.
It's scary.
Yeah.
My children are grown, but I have grandchildren. I have young boys.
Yep.
That I want to grow up and be good men
and
powerful men. But how can they do that if all the images are telling them to just, be feminine?
Yep. And look at and they do it in little sneaky ways too. They make the clothes tighter, stuff like that. It's a lot of single moms raising boys. That plays a lot in it too. It plays a big role.
Years ago, people would look at me like I was crazy, and I said they should bring back shotgun weddings. Mm-hmm. Because people need to know you need to be responsible for your actions. And so maybe if men knew that if I get her pregnant, I'm going to have to marry her.
Yep.
You know, they'd be a little bit more selective. And the women would be more selective. They say, if he gets me pregnant, I'm going to have to marry him. So they wouldn't pick someone just for fun and games. They would, be looking for a mate as opposed to someone to just have a little fun with.
Yeah, the what they call them, the fuck boys, they'll be going.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be.
But I guess that's why when you turn on TV, you see all these women, these melanated women who are, just trying to have some fun.
Yeah.
It's not about fun. It's about preparing for the future. I remember teaching in the Bronx at the time, and I was telling the students, and they hadn't even considered that. Then one day you're going to be somebody's grandmother, or you're going to be somebody's grandfather, or someone's great grandfather, or someone's great grandmother. Not going great, great. How do you want to be perceived?
Yep.
And they had never even thought about that.
No,
the only thing that they thought about was right then and now.
Yep. How many likes can I get? Yeah. Yes. I just go with the method of I just tell my own, me as a father myself, I be straight up with my kids and I let them know, everybody don't have your best interests. Question everything. Don't even take my word for it. Do your own research. And everybody is capable of doing something heinous and disgusting.
Right.
So you just stay, keep that in mind. So, but.
Yeah. But, again, back to the school. I remember when I first started teaching, I taught on a elementary school level, but more high school, and then ultimately on a college level.
Right.
But when I was teaching high school, when I first started teaching, if a student misbehaved and you were trying to teach and they were disruptive and they started cursing or whatever, you could write them up, and the only thing you had to say was he or she was cursing.
Yeah.
Then it got to the point where they said, well, what exactly did they say? So you would have to write down every last curse they said. And then once you gave it to the disciplinarian, they might say, oh, that wasn't so bad. They only said damn. Oh, that wasn't so bad. Oh, he said hell. Then before you know it was all the other curses. Oh, that wasn't so bad. Well, they didn't say it to you. He was just merely expressing an opinion.
Yeah.
So they became more and more intentionally, I believe, lax in what they were allowing the children to get away with.
Yeah.
Because they wanted them to get to the point where they became unruly. Because if you're unruly, how are you learning?
Yeah.
You're not learning. Although there were a lot of teachers that they clearly weren't there to teach them. They were teaching them everything but what they really needed to learn. And I would go in there and I would teach them the history and culture. So I got passed along pretty quickly from one school to the next, or one class to the next. I'd be teaching one class 1 minute before I know, oh, you're no longer teaching that class. Now you don't have to teach this. You don't have to teach that. So that was my lot when I was, before I retired 2 years ago. But all of it, I think, is in an effort to make us some other people than who we're supposed to be.
Right.
And a lot of the kids, they don't even realize what's going on until they graduate, and then they realize they haven't been prepared to do anything.
No.
And it's all by design.
Yep. And this is a plan that's was put into place decades ago.
Right.
So, well,
right.
Dr. O, we are a little bit over an hour. I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. If you want, tell the audience where they can find you at.
Okay. I have a website. It's called theunconquered.movie. And on that website, you can see copy or trailers for the movie I'm trying to make. You can see information about those particular trailers. You can buy my book. Again, the name of the book is The Unconquered, the Yamasi and Gullah Geechee Wars. You can also go to Amazon, go directly to Amazon and get the book. If you don't want to buy the book, you can read the book for free. Or if you have a Kindle, the program is called Kindle Unlimited. And you might not even really need a Kindle per se, because I know I'm able to access Kindle from my computer. So I think as long as you have a computer, you can download my book and read it for free. And that's only for a limited amount of time. I'm only going to offer it maybe for another week or two. And then if you want to read the book, you'll have to buy it. And I think it's worth reading. It's packed with all sorts of information. Find out about Blackbeard. Find out about the burning of the White House. Thomas Jefferson. You know, Blackbeard was a black man. That's why they called him Blackbeard. There's just so much information in the book. So, you know, read it. I think you'll enjoy it. And tell friends to read it as well. I think they'll enjoy it. And I'm Dr. Subsribe Ogunleye, and the name of the book again is The Unconquered, the Yamasi and Gullah Geechee Wars.
Well, Dr. O, I just want to say thank you. You're always welcome as a guest on the show. Anytime you want to come on, just let me know, and we'll open the microphone up to you. So I just want to say thank you again for your time. Appreciate it. And folks, go out and check out the book. I've been reading it myself. And I just want to say thank you, Dr. O. Appreciate it very much. You have a good day.
Okay, you too.
Thank you.
Bye.
There you go, folks. Next week, True Power's Mind should be back. We'll have this train back on. I hope you enjoy the interview from Dr. O, the lady that wrote The Unconquered. Check it out. You got a Kindle. You can download it and get it for free. If not, you're going to have to pay for it on Amazon. I recommend you just buy the book. That way you'll have it. So, a few more announcements. If I'm not mistaken, I think Mark from Anaheim is supposed to be on next Friday. I have to double check that. Dimebag TV 2 is going to be rolling out real soon, going over some things. You know, it's not going to be a political channel, but we're going to talk about some crazy stuff. Some fun stuff is going to be some really good, valuable information that people will need about things that affect their everyday life. That's what Dimebag TV is going to be about, everyday living. So we're going to have all kinds of stuff. So let you guys know when that's coming. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/DimebagTV. And I just want to say this has been the Other Morning Show. Peace. And I'm out.